Hi, welcome back to your joyful era. I am your host, Courtney, and I have a very special guest today, my friend Silkina. You probably have seen her all over your TikTok, Awaken with Silkina. Thank you so much for being here.
Courtney, I am just so delighted to be having this conversation with you. I'm ready. We're about to open like a portal and floodgates. I can feel
Yes,
it.
I love it. And I am so honored to have you here because I love you. We have always vibed. I love your content. I've always resonated with it. And I'm so excited because we were just talking about how we have both been kind of going through rebrands and like a whole new like spiritual awakening. And I would love to
Yeah.
hear in it, the timing never fails because just this morning before we got on this call, I saw one of your most recent TikTok videos about how you haven't been posting as much lately because you haven't really had much to say or you don't know what to say
Yeah.
yet because you've been in your own process. And I have felt the exact same way. And so I would love to hear your perspective and like what you've been going through.
Well, first of all, I'm glad that I'm not alone. And it's interesting. I think when you share your story, I think you can be a little bit more judgmental towards yourself. Because for me, what I realized, because now I can feel like I'm actually coming out again, like out of my isolation and like that hermit mode. And again, everything makes sense in hindsight, right? So I actually look back at the period that I went through in the last year and like a year and a half. I'm like, actually, what I've learned from this entire thing of like going through an internal identity shift and like wanting to share different things. And, I feel like that's life. Like, as humans, we are meant to evolve and like grow at different phases in our lives. Like, we're never the same all the time. And thank God for that. Like, why would we want to be the same all the time?
No, right.
Yeah. And I just feel like the most important thing is actually being present and honoring exactly where you are because you're never going to be that person or in that same phase ever again. So I look back at like what I've gone through in the past year and I've really just like, done that. It's like I've had an internal shift and then it's like things are good and then I'm like, oh my God, and no, I'm back in this point and in the spiral again, and it's like things are stagnant and I feel stuck. And then I've sort of like rode that high and I'm like, no, actually, everything is okay. And like, I'm doing great. And then it's like down again. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? And it really just made me realize that these things are so inevitable and it's just a part of life. And the most important thing is being present with where you are. And I think we both know this as well. It's not creating some type of judgmental story about it because I feel like when you get into the judgment, you're separating yourself and your soul, right? So it's like the minute you're judging what is happening, the minute that you're judging another person, your circumstance, you've actually taken yourself out of that present moment and you're so far from your spirit and you're far from your soul, right? So I think like as uncomfortable as it is, and I'm sure maybe you can resonate with this as well. It's like if you have been one identity for a very long time and getting that nudge to sort of step back, because I kind of got that nudge of like, it's okay to step back and like not share this period. Because again, we all go through periods of like needing to self-reflect, right? And like self-isolate. And that's completely normal. The only reason that we feel stuck or stagnant is the stories that we tell about that period. So if you can actually just be there and be okay with it, which is what I slowly started to do, it's like I'm like creating some type of routine. I think like sitting with yourself, sitting in stillness, doing some type of meditation or like EFT tapping, which I love. I think that became non-negotiable and I wasn't really forcing it, but it's more like this is what I need to come back to me. And I deserve this time. Like, I deserve this stillness to be with me. And when I started to create like some type of routine that worked for me, that was when I could start to feel like my energy started to soften and like the voices in my mind started to sort of quiet down because I was just able to, tap into that part of me that's like so much bigger than my thoughts and my mind. I hope that answered your question.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. Absolutely. Everything you said, I resonated with so deeply. And that has been such a similar experience for me this year, too. Same with the up and down, the back and forth, the roller coaster, and almost feeling like I was fighting against myself for a long, it was like this internal battle. And it's so weird because at the beginning of this year, and this is a year 9, by the way, which is endings, like we are all and the year of the snake, which sheds its
Yeah.
skin, right? And so, you know, um, it's just so on brand and symbolic that everyone, and from my perspective, I'm seeing this happen with so many people where we are shedding these old identities. In the beginning of the year, I was riding this high from the end of last year, right? And then I think it started around like April or May. I had all of these like old um fears and doubts and old stories and old identities coming back up, and it just kind of like hit me out of nowhere. And it was so strange. And ever since then it's been so similar to what you said, kind of this up and down, back and forth, where I feel like I've been fighting to release this old identity, yet struggling to fully step into the new one, right? And so it's been me against me and this internal thing for months and months. And like you said, letting yourself go through it and not judging the experience, and also being led, and this is not coincidental, I kind of fell asleep for a while. I forgot who I am for a while, and I became so immersed in the external that I forgot myself. And it was so strange until I felt guided to sit in stillness. I had become so busy, so externally focused. I wouldn't sit down, I wouldn't sit with myself. I was doing, I was going, I was thinking, right? And it was never turning off until something hit me and it knocked me down, right? That forced me have to sit in stillness, be still and know that I'm God. And it brought me back to remembering the I am, and remembering who I am, and remembering that everything is me after, you know, feeling like I was struggling for so long. And now I see that it was purposeful because it woke me back up, and there's no negative judgment to put on it. It was just my experience. And I had this epiphany the other day, and I'm sitting there in my living room crying, and I'm like, what have I been striving for? What is there to strive for when I already am everything? And so allowing myself to sit in stillness again and quiet down and remind myself who I am after all of the striving and all of the doing and all of the thinking and moving, and I don't know if that makes any sense. It really allowed me to remember that there's nothing to do and there's nothing to strive for. Be still and know, be still and know that you're already everything, and this is just a moment. And even like those uncomfortable things that were coming up, it's like, what I have to believe to be true for me to feel this way. And then it was like all these things just released, and I even like laughed at it, if that makes any sense. Like, this is just funny when you know and you remember that you're everything. All of these things that we try to do as humans, it's laughable. Does that make any sense?
It makes so much sense. And like it reminds me of something that happened to me last month. I was in Bali. And by the way, I have like so many things to say about that because it's like I resonate with every single thing you said. I feel like, first of all, the most important thing is really truly acceptance of the whole. And I love that you brought up I am too, because something that I've really realized in the past year is that like you said, there's no such thing as like a negative circumstance because every single time that I've gone through a negative circumstance or, experiences where I just feel constricted, right? I feel like, oh my God, I'm pushing against my edge. Like this is really uncomfortable. I'm looking at my reality and it's like, I don't necessarily want to go through this, but I remind myself of what Eckhart Tolle always says. He's like, if you are experiencing it, it is meant to be in your reality and it is your responsibility. So there's no like it doesn't make sense for you to just ignore it or pretend like it's not happening because it's there, right? And everything that happens in your life is asking for your acceptance. And so I realized that in those moments where I felt very uncomfortable, I was judging myself, I felt like I identified more with my mind and my thoughts and not really with soul because it that feels really different. I feel like those moments were only bringing me closer to source, like bringing me closer to God, the creator, whatever that you want to call it, right? So now every time I'm pushed against my edge and I feel really uncomfortable, literally what I tell myself is, "Oh my God, I'm forgetting. Like I'm just forgetting who I am." And this is coming back to me because my soul and my higher self and source is like, hey, just so you know, you're starting to forget. And so this, circumstance is coming up because I need to remind you actually who you are. And in those moments is when I can sort of lean back into my body and like my being. And I'm like, okay, like I remember that I am the I am. And the minute that I remember, like these feelings just dissolve. And so I've really stopped fighting and being in conflict with myself and reality because I feel like when you just accept yourself, and again, acceptance does not mean that you're like, I guess this is my life, like I'm just gonna be okay with this. It's not that. It's like you're just not resisting it. You're like, if this reality is something that I may have created with my past thoughts, I can be conscious enough to create a new reality, but this is where I am right now, and I'm not resisting it. I'm not fighting it. I'm not creating some type of like critical, negative story about it. I'm just going to accept that this is here. And this acceptance is going to dissolve that conflict, right? And so, what I wanted to say also that last month I was in Bali and I was in a nightclub and I was just so present in that moment. Like I was with my family and we were having a really good time. I wasn't drinking because I stopped drinking like a few years ago, but I was just like really there and I was having a really good time. And in that moment, I think I was so present that I had like a spiritual awakening moment in like a club where it was loud and it was
That is
crowded. There
so
were so
funny.
many people. Yeah, but then in that moment, I remember thinking, I was like, so nothing matters but presence. Like you could be in a nightclub where people are drinking and like dancing, the music is loud, it's really crowded. And the typical story is that it's a negative, low vibrational, environment. And it's like you would never think to have like a spiritual awakening moments there. But I remember just being there and looking at everyone having a good time. And I was so present. I wasn't thinking about yesterday. I wasn't in my mind. I was really in my body and I was there. And there was like some part of me that was like, do you know that life is a game? And I remember being there and I'm like what am I thinking? Or like what is this voice? And it was like, just by the way, reality is a simulation. And like I had this moment where I looked at everyone and I'm like, I feel like I could press like a pause button right now and everybody would stop. Cause that that thought, the way that I translated it was like, oh, like that download just made me realize once again that all that matters is consciousness. And like the only thing that is real is my conscious reality, right? So I like what I think about myself and what I think about my life or like life in general and like other people is all that matters. And the way that I got the download was so weird because I remember like looking at my cousins as well. I was like, oh my God, like what? I just had like a moment of awakening. And the thing with these moments too, it happens so fast that all of this is not even in like thought process, right? Everything is like a knowing in the body. It's only after when you've gone through it where you're like, wow, that was like 5 seconds of like knowing, you know? Like I've had those moments where I just look up at the sky too, and it's like I'm hit with such immense gratitude, and it feels like a lifetime, but it literally happens in like a flash. Like it's just 1 second of like grateful for life. I can't believe I'm alive. Oh my God, I'm in a human body. The sky is blue and like what is happening? And it's like everything just happens in like 1 second. But that kind of makes me realize too about just like the importance of working with the present moment, right? It's like there is no technique, there is nothing for you to do because in this present moment, actually everything is perfect. And whatever that you're deeming as a challenge or an obstacle is only a challenge and an obstacle because you're telling some type of story about it being a challenge or an obstacle. But I believe that every single circumstance that is happening in your life is just it's really like a stepping stone, you know? It's like you just keep going up, you know? And also the way that I see reality is not linear, right? Like it is that spiral. That's why we've kind of just like gone through that, right? We're just sort of like in different points of that spiral, but it's not a bad thing. Like it's just the way that it is, and every single thing that has happened in the past year for me that I didn't particularly like has actually reminded me that I'm so much bigger than my mind. And so, kind of like what you said, right? I look back and I'm like, but it served such an important purpose that I can't even judge it. Like, I can't even look back and be mad at the person that stabbed me in the back or the person that rejected me because I'm like, but you brought me closer to God at the end of it. Like, if you didn't do that, I wouldn't remember. And so I start to look at everyone in my reality actually as players that are rooting for me, you know? So it's like the person that rejected me, it's like, actually, thank God. Like, thank you, you know? Like the person that ghosted me and like stopped talking to me, like, oh my God, you're actually an angel, you know? And it's not to like glamorize or glorify suffering, but it's more like not not riding that wave and going into a spiral, you know? And just choosing to be above it. And yeah, like that's just sort of the energy and the mindset that has really gotten me through the past year.
Yes. Oh my God. Everything you said, oh, it just hits because and also I love what you said about the present moment because the present moment truly is all that exists. And when you can actually be here now, and I know that's such a cliche phrase, but it all those cliche phrases are for a reason because they're
Yeah,
true,
because they're true. Yeah,
because they're
exactly.
true. Exactly. And, in the present moment is the only place where you can remember yourself because that's where you exist and you are pure awareness. And so, um, being led back to stillness. And it's so funny that what you said at the beginning reminded me so much of this note. I have this note now on my desk on the wall that says, "Don't ever forget who you are again." Which is hilarious. But,
Yeah.
forgetting and then remembering is all part of it because spot on what you said. Every um level of awakening and awareness, and I see it as not like a hierarchy but just levels of awareness, deeper and deeper and deeper awareness and communion with God, right? That's how I see it. And all of those things can come through um contrast and discomfort, but it's not something to judge negatively, like you said, and I'm so grateful for it. If I hadn't hit rock bottom in 2022 and my life had blown up, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it woke me up. And, it's so funny how things happen and play out because, I went through this time of, from my perception then, because I didn't know who I actually am, um, of like a cloud over my head and such a disempowered feeling state to like the highest, most empowered state I'd ever experienced. And so, you know, people like to talk about non-dualism, but like the experience that we're having here is kind of dualistic if you think about it, because how would you know power without experiencing disempowerment? And this is like how I look at the reason why we're here. It's God experiencing itself through all of these different perspectives. And because you are all things, it's going to experience all of you, and all of you is, you know, this and that, right? And so it's an interesting journey to look back on and go, all of that was happening for me so that I could know myself, and I could know myself even deeper, if that makes any sense.
100%. And I also just shared a video on my TikTok just now where I was like, there was a period in my life where I'm like, wait, I actually forgot that manifesting is just about becoming the person that you desire to be, right? So it's like you actually have the power to create an identity that you resonate with at every single moment. I guess, which is why like awareness of the self is so important. And it's like, one of the first steps, because it's like every single time that something happens in your life that you don't necessarily like, or like, you're maybe judging, it's like if you don't know how to respond from the state of the person that you desire to be, it's so easy to just keep repeating that loop and that pattern again and again and again, right? And I think there's also a reason why so many of us are going through this identity shift. Like so many of us are just being called to like, okay, step back, rebrand and like share things that are more authentic. I think that's sort of where I'm leaning towards. It's like I'm okay to be vulnerable. Like I shared in my video, right? It's like I don't have to share things that I've already mastered, because now I look back and I'm like, actually, I haven't mastered really anything, right? It's like maybe I've been one step ahead and I've gone through things and I've had epiphanies and I've learned and I've, evolved and like grown, but really I am just like you. Like I was where you are, and I don't claim to know all the answers because I'm human and I'm still going through things, and I will probably go through things again. Like when I went through my heartbreak in 2022, I remember thinking to myself, like at the time, it was the thought process that really got me through. But I was like, I will never go through this again. Like this will never happen to me again. And I look back now and I'm like, you know, maybe I'll go through heartbreak again. It will be a completely different experience because I have the tools. But who's to say that I will not experience the pain of heartbreak again? I don't know that, right? Because things like that happen, like grief happen, loss happens. But what I know is that I can handle it and I'm gonna be okay. Like that is the most important thing that I'm always gonna know, is that I'm supported, I'm guided. I'm never gonna be in that place where I'm like so, like in that deep dark hole where I'm lost. Because I feel like now that I've understood like the power of the present moment, just like being in the present moment, my soul is able to kind of swoop in like really fast. It's like I'm here, like you're not alone. Like don't worry about it. But I think that's sort of like the most important lesson that I've learned is that judgment creates separation, right? And like when you're separated, you're stuck in that illusion. And that illusion is what creates like the fear and the doubt. And I was listening to a podcast as well. It's called Alignment Academy. And I forget the name of the guest, but she had a guest. And the guest said something like, when you are in fear or doubt, you just have a lack of knowing of God, right? And so if you can just get deeper into that knowing, like all I need is within me. All my needs are always met. That's a quote by Michael Beckwith, and that really sustained me like in the past year as well. Like anytime I was in my fear and doubt, I'm always like, but all my needs are always met. Like literally everything always happens at the right time for me. I have evidence of that. Like it's so funny. Sometimes your brain can like bring you to past evidence where things didn't work out, but then when you actually shift your focus, it's like, no, but I've always been okay. And I've always had like mystical, magical things happen to me like randomly, and like the universe always shows up. So I have evidence of that too. And I had this moment of like sobbing on my floor. And I remember thinking, like, I'm so lost. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like a failure. And I could feel like my soul and my guides were like, but have we ever let you down? And in that moment, I stopped crying because I'm like, wait, no, they're calling me out because they've never let me down. And so I'm like, I don't even understand why I'm so like identifying with a certain story when if I just shift my focus slightly, I can immediately feel okay. And that feeling of feeling okay comes from just like the knowing of, but I'm always guided and I'm not alone. And that's something that I think people forget when they get into the manifesting journey is like, I have to repeat affirmations and I have to do this and I have to change my subconscious beliefs. And it's like, you know, yes, you have to show up because you make that decision first and then the universe and like God supports you. But also there's so many things that's happening behind the scenes that you could never even imagine or fathom. Like you as a human could not even make that happen. You know, there's so many things that has happened in my life where I'm like, I'm so glad that thing I visualized didn't happen because this is so much better. And I couldn't even have conceptualized this in my mind because, you know, I think as humans, you think you know what you want, but when you open yourself up to that unknown, like what Joe Dispenza talks about as well, it's like if you just open yourself up to that unknown, and that unknown can only come in in the present moment, I think you would be surprised like what could be of your life because you think you know what you want and you're visualizing one reality. But when you open up to being okay with every reality that is in your highest good can actually come in, like the universe will be like, challenge accepted. Are you ready? Because I'm about to bring people into your life. You're about to get like crazy experiences and it's about to be magical and it's about to be fun. But I think a lot of people stop that from happening because and this is so normal. Like, this is not even like judging anyone. It's just that we like some sense of control, right? It's like, but I want to visualize this because I think this will make me feel good. And being in the unknown is really uncomfortable when you're first doing it because it's like, am I going to be okay? Like, you know, is like, am I going to survive? Which is why nervous system tools is really important, right? Like EFT tapping and breath work. And you talk about that as well. Like somatic work, like basically just take care of your energy, take care of your body, and be okay um, with stepping into that unknown, like little by little, like just stretch yourself little by little. Like one thing that I've learned in the past year is I have sat with discomfort. Like I have sat with discomfort, and I'm glad to say that I can handle it. You know, like if it were to happen again, I know exactly how to hold myself through that. And I feel like that's a valuable lesson that I learned. If anything, if you know, I don't learn anything, at least I've learned that I can survive discomfort and I'm okay.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely. Yes. I love what you said about, survival because that has been a huge, and maybe for all of us, these themes have been coming back up this year, coming back around. And like I said, the year of the snake and the year of nine, which is completion and ending of cycles. And getting rid of, or not getting rid of, but releasing old identities and becoming something new. And that has been a major theme for me too. And same, I have had to sit in a good deal of discomfort this year, but it has taught me to come back to the present moment because all the solutions exist in the present moment. And um, the peace that we're looking for, the feeling that we're searching for, the value and the love and the worthiness and everything, all of it is in the present moment, and all of it is actually you. You are the source of all of it. But until you get into the present moment, you can't see it, right? And so that is the biggest thing that I have learned this year is to, it's okay to feel how you feel, but all the things that you are searching for and maybe outsourcing, right, are in the present moment and they're all within you, like you said. And it, you cannot make it up because I just had a moment this week with myself and almost like word for word what you said, where I was standing in the bathroom looking in the mirror and this thing just came over me like, yeah, but is God just going to let me fail? Has God ever let me fail? Haven't I always been okay? And I'm like, yeah, so what am I what am I going on about? You know what I mean? Um
We're so funny, right? It's like I think about those moments too. I'm like, okay, that was embarrassing. Like, why was I sobbing on the floor? Like, am I okay? I am okay. Like, my guys are like, girl, get up. Like, you're good.
you know
It's
that
like,
thing?
I don't like to be dramatic. Like, leave me
Oh,
alone.
oh, same. You know that thing, the audio on TikTok that's like, girl, get up, you're a witch. What are you crying about? Or whatever. Like
Yeah,
that's what that reminds me of.
that's me. I am a witch. I
Same.
have a cauldron right there.
I love
There.
that. No, I love all the witchy things. I am coming back around to all of that. I kind of like shut down that part of myself the past couple years for a little while, but I'm starting to, warm back up to it because I realized, all of that is what makes life fun, and all of these things wouldn't exist if we couldn't play around with it. You know what I mean? And have whatever experience that we want to have. And once again, there's no judgment to put on it. And so,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm dipping my toe back into the witchy stuff.
I think that's like the most important thing too, is like just what are you telling yourself about it? You know, it's like if you're judging it and there's some type of stories there, then it's like, yeah, then it's true for
Exactly.
you, right? So I also went through that period because like I started my awakening journey really, with tarot and like crystals. And I think I went like to the other extreme where I'm like, no, like I don't need that and this is bad, blah, blah. But then recently I've been sort of like diving back into, picking a card and like tarot with no story. Like I'm not telling anything to myself about it except that I love connecting with my soul through these tools and that's it. Like I don't give it power. And I think we talked about this in my podcast as well. It's like with astrology and tarot, it's like as long as you don't give it more power, um, then it's really all fun and
Yeah.
these are tools that can actually help you and guide you, like your soul speaks through these things as well.
Yes, I completely agree. And it's so funny to look back on the contrast of same. When I started my awakening journey, I was into all the things, but from the perspective of where I was at that time, I was outsourcing the power that was actually me to these things, right? And so now, exactly what
Me
you said,
too.
I know that I'm doing it. It's me. So of course I can do whatever the hell I want to do, right? I can play around with stuff. And what's I find hilarious about this now is that all of my 3D friends, right? I don't know why I'm calling them 3D friends, but um
They are.
right. But at that time, when I started dabbling in all these things, they thought it was so weird. And now that I went through the same thing as you, where I'm like, well, I don't need all of that. It's just my conscious awareness, right? Like, I gave all my cards away. I gave all my crystals away. Like, I got rid of everything. And now those same 3D friends are getting into astrology and they're asking me like about tarot cards. And I'm like, what? This is so strange.
Yeah, like, oh, you saw that story that I posted on my Instagram today that I moved my meditation chair and I found a card and
I
I
saw
hadn't
that.
moved. Yeah, actually the card is right here. And I hadn't moved my chair for like weeks. So I'm like, how did that card get there? But it was like the Seven of Swords, but it's from the
Mm.
Thoth. I don't know if you know, but this, sorry, by the way, we're like going way off, but like this is
Okay.
one of the best books on like tarot. And so the card that was stuck under my meditation chair for weeks, which by the way, I did not even know this fell out. Like I was so confused when I moved it. I was like, what is a card doing there? And it was like the Seven of Swords, and like the message is basically what we were talking about today. It was something like these destructive thoughts do not need to be taken seriously. The reality is somewhat different from your perception of it. Soon you will be able to laugh over your own doubts. And the message is your fears have nothing to do with reality. Wake up and see what's really happening with like exclamation marks. And I remember reading that and I'm like, oh my God, I just got out of that like energy where my perception of what was happening was not actually what was happening. And when I started to stop fighting with it, kind of like what you were saying, like, I'm not in conflict with it, I'm just accepting it, things just dissolved. And I started to like, make videos again because I wasn't putting so much pressure on myself that, oh, I have to be this way and I have to talk about this because people only know me, like from this image or like this angle. But it's like, no, actually, I can be whoever I want. Like, it's okay. So
Yep.
like when people want or like when your guides want to give you a sign, like I still don't know how this card flew out of the deck that's inside my drawer and went under my meditation chair. And then when I read the message, I was like, what? Like that's literally what I was going through.
You cannot make it up. I mean, you cannot make it up because it's always there and it's always telling you something. Like, I literally just went through this where I like woke up to like these fears and doubts and it just started laughing at them. I'm like, this is not that serious. Like, it is not that like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I've also um been being shown this theme of everything's already here. It's always been here. And like little silly things like because there's been like one area of my life, mainly like abundance, where all of these fears had come back up like throughout this year and survival, right? And knowing and coming back to the awareness that I am abundance itself. I am prosperity. It's always been here. The value is me. The money is me, right? I've never needed to seek for it. I've never needed to chase it. I've never needed to fear that it was going anywhere. It's always been right here. It's always been right here. And so that's what my guides have been, showing me that I like lost this lipstick. Right. And I thought that I had lost it. Well, nothing's ever lost because everything's right here. Right. They keep showing me
Yeah.
that. And one day I was pulling like a koozie, like a drink koozie out of my purse. The lipstick fell out, the one that I'd been looking for. It had been there the whole time. And then the other day, like we had a birthday party for my daughter, and I was like searching my house high and low for these like birthday plates that I knew were here somewhere. Never found them. Well, opened a random cabinet. The one cabinet I didn't open right when I was searching for them, there they were. They were there the whole time. And so my guides just keep saying, stop searching for shit that's always been there. It's always been you. It's always been within you. It's not going anywhere. It's never been missing. Right. And so be still and stop searching. Be still and remember and stop chasing. Right. You never needed to chase who you are. You've never like Neville Goddard would say, you never need seek for what you already are. You already are all the love. You already are all of the abundance and the things that we tend to search out there for. Well, there is no out there. You're the source of all of it. And so that's a huge thing I've been reminded of recently too. And even, another synchronicity that's been happening to me a lot. It's always with my daughter's clothes. Like, this is such a silly example, but like things just being there immediately, instantly falling in my lap and my guy and in my mind it's like, see, this works for everything, everything, everything. And like I was thinking in my head the other day, okay, like they need this and this and this for school. And I go and look in like the laundry hamper or whatever, and it's literally all the things I needed at that moment just fell in my lap. And I was like, okay, I got it. I got it. I hear you.
Oh my God, absolutely. And like I want to share a story as well, like in that front of acceptance. And like I don't know why is it when you detach and you're just okay with the way things are that things just work out. Like I still don't have like an explanation for it, but it just always happens, right? So I have a cousin who was planning like a birthday party for her daughter, and literally that week, it was basically storming like every single day, except the day before the party, it was like, really bright sunshine. And she was like, thank God tomorrow's the pool party, and I need the weather to be like this. Well, on the day of the birthday, it started like storming so like heavily that she was freaking out, and like she basically messages me when things happen. She's like, "What do I do? Like I'm so stressed." And she was already like making up all these stories about it. She was like, "I can't believe that the universe let me down." And I'm like, "Look, it's 10
No.
o'clock. Your party is 2 p.m." She's like, "You don't understand. Like I've already invited all of my daughter's friends, and like it's so stressful. I was up all night, and it's a pool party, like it's outdoors. Like what should I do? Like what's gonna happen?" I was like, relax, like literally breathe into it. And then again, she was like complaining. 11 o'clock got even heavier. She's like 12 o'clock. She's like, I can't have this birthday at 2 because it's literally noon right now and I'm expecting people to cancel. And everything was already like I have the food ready. I have all the decor ready. Like she was so stressed. I was like, you know what? I want you to literally step back and I want you to go outside and I want you to look at the rain and you're going to be like, I accept the clouds. I accept the rain. I accept the storm. Like literally just go on an acceptance rampage. And then I didn't hear from her and I'm like, hello, like, is everything okay? She's like, never mind. The rain stopped and the sun came out like literally 1:30. I was like, after you said that you accepted everything, she's like, yeah, I guess it works. I was like, yeah, it's not a coincidence. But I remember like, because when I told her that too, I was like, oh my God, yeah, like that's really stressful. But I was like, you know what? It never fails me. Like every time I look at a circumstance and I'm like, I accept it. Like I accept that you're here. I accept that this person just said that to me and I didn't like it. I accept it and it's okay. It doesn't mean that like I'm giving into it, but it's like this is happening right now and I'm not going to resist it. Like it's fine. Like I'm still me. I'm still connected to all that there is. It's like I am good. And so I made her do that exercise and she's like, my daughter had the best birthday ever. And before that, she was saying all sorts of things. And I'm like, honestly, acceptance is simply not resisting. Like you're not in conflict with what is like what you're currently seeing right now. And you know that it's flexible, like it can change. But in order for it to shift, you have to say, I accept you. Like I'm okay with you. Like it's okay. Because I feel like even like all of that, right? Like experiences and emotions, especially emotions like grief, like when you lose someone, whether it's like death or like breakup, it can consume you so much. But I think even grief is asking for your acceptance. It's like, well, I'm here. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you just gonna pretend that I'm not here? Are you gonna judge me? Are you just gonna be like, I don't want you to be here? Or can we be companions? Like, can we be okay? Like, I'm gonna be here for I don't know how long, and maybe a part of me will always be here. So can you find acceptance and just not resist this and not be in conflict with this? I actually love listening to Gary Zukov because he talks a lot about like, surrendering and like acceptance and the way that he says it as well, right? He's like, it's simply not resisting anything. It's simply not fighting yourself. I think that word that you used at the beginning too is really powerful. It's like just not being in conflict with yourself, because like not accepting what's happening is also an energy leak, right? So it's like instead of fighting what's happening, just accept it and then find a solution. Or like that solution will actually come to you, but it cannot come to you when my cousin was like, I don't know what to do. And like, I'm so stressed and what's going to happen? Like, what do I have to do? Do I have to cancel? Like, do I have to call? And I'm like, no. All you have to do is look at it and be like, it's okay. Like, I accept the storm. I accept the rain. I accept the clouds. I accept if this party doesn't even happen. Like, I'm going to figure it out. And when she said that, she's like, the rain stopped. And I'm like, of course it did. Because
Oh
it
my
just was
God.
looking for your acceptance. Like, that's it. Like, imagine if we just treated everything like that. It's like, I'm not fighting you. Your SP said something so hurtful. Okay, it's okay. I accept it. Like it's flexible. Things can change and it's okay. It's okay. I get to deal with the hurt. I don't have to externalize this. I don't have to blame this person. I don't have to make a story about, "Oh my God, but he did this and they did this." And it's like step away from the stories. Just say, "I accept it. It's okay. It's happened. I'm gonna be okay. I'm fine." And then it's like from that acceptance, the solutions will just come in. You don't even have to try to find it from your mind, right? Because again, your mind like tries to just copy paste, but it's like if you can just allow it to come from the higher mind, you don't even have to search for it. Like it'll come to you, right? Like the emotions and, you know,
Oh
solutions.
my God, yes. I love that. I love that so much because, and the way that I see that too is when you accept it and you stop fighting, that is no longer
Yeah.
fighting it, no longer resisting it. You're taking your power back from it because if you're fighting it, you're giving it energy and it's perpetuating it, right? And it's just making it more and more and more like expansive because you're fighting it and you're resisting it. So I love that. And I actually needed to hear that today because I've been battling myself this year, and so I think just recently though I've started to kind of step into that because into the acceptance of and also accepting it is taking your power back, but it's also bringing you back into the present moment, and it's you um remembering that the solutions are all right here. They're already lined up for you and they're in this moment. And that allows you to look at the whatever circumstance and actually laugh at it and be like, because now that I've accepted you, I can do that, right? If that makes any sense. And then everything just resolves itself because you're not fighting it anymore.
Yeah, and then you can focus your energy on actually thinking or like creating the identity and the reality that you want. Because fighting it is spending your energy on fighting it. Like that
Yeah.
itself requires energy, right? Like you saying this shouldn't happen. I wish this person didn't say this to me. Like I wish I wasn't here. I wish I wasn't living this reality. Like that is you spending your energy doing that. So if you can just like close the chapter, accept it, and be like, okay, now what? Right? It's like now I get to move to the next level. And it's like people ask me all the time, but like, why? Like why does it happen? I'm like, I don't know, actually. This is just the way it is, like with the universe. And something similar happened this week as well with like this guy that I have a crush on. He was like, oh, when you're around, like, let me know because we work in the same office. And I was like, I don't want to let you know because I feel like that's a little too like straightforward. I'm like, no, like I'm not gonna make the move, right? And so I was at the office and I was sitting at the cafe and he was leaving um the building, but like in one moment he looked back and I looked up and I was like, oh my God, like just as I was like in acceptance of it, where I'm like, you know what? I don't care. Like if this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, right? And so we looked at each other and I'm like, of course I would bump into him. Like, of course I would. Like the moments that I didn't really care about it, like the universe is like, you actually don't have to do anything. Like I'm let me do it, you know? Like, but I
Yeah.
was already genuinely in acceptance where I'm like, if I don't make the move, maybe I don't see him. Like, it's okay. It's not a big deal. I'm still okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. And I wasn't really saying that to myself. Like, I genuinely felt it where I'm like, I'm gonna be okay. And I accept this, right? And then we bumped into each other and I was like, of course this would happen. And then yeah, and we were having like a conversation and I was like, this is so interesting. This is so interesting. Like, how does this always happen? Like, when you just accept and you're not clinging onto it and you're not needy or like desperate for it, like, it happens for you. Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of a paradox. It's like, you don't have to do anything, just step back and like let the universe, do all this.
That was you like being still, right? You being
Yeah.
still. And which I see that too as like it allows the space for that thing that source has already lined up perfectly for you for it to actually come in because you are still and you're detached and you're allowing it to actually unfold. And so, I think a lot of times we really want, like you said, to control and we want it to look a certain way. And if it's not this way, then blah, blah, blah. But source already has it lined up for you perfectly if you would just sit your ass down and allow it to happen. You know what I mean? Allow yourself to accept
So
it.
true. And also, if you notice, like, I love listening to like celebrity interviews or like, like all these people that talk about like, oh, like I did want this, but the way that it came to me was so unexpected. Like almost everyone will have some sort of, that kind of saying. It's like I I didn't really expect it. Like, yeah, I wanted it and I thought about it and I look back at my journal and I wrote this thing, at this point in time, but the way that it came in was so unexpected or it came in through somebody that they would never expect would give them an opportunity, which kind of makes me feel like when you hold a vision and an intention, it is not up to you how things happen. And actually, you're not meant to know the how because then what is the point of life, right? Like,
Yep.
there has
It
to be
takes the
some
fun out.
surprise. Exactly. And there has to be some mystery to it because now if I look back and I think about if like God told me that, oh, by the way, you're gonna break up with this person, but don't worry, because you're gonna go here and you're gonna go here and you're gonna have this, you're gonna have followers on TikTok. I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, cool. And then I probably wouldn't even work for it because I'm like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna wait until it happens. But I think the fun of it is that I really didn't know. And I look back now and I'm like, I just showed up for myself every single day and I made it a point to prioritize myself. But I just held on a vision that I was going to be okay, but I didn't know how things were going to pan out. And I think that's part of the fun of life. Like, again, it's coming back to the unknown and being okay with the unknown. And don't let the present moment scare you. Like, if you can just keep meeting your edge and being okay with discomfort. And every time you have discomfort, you literally have, creators like Courtney that you can watch on TikTok and to always to like remind you of who you are, and this is why I think it's so important for people like us who feel called to share to actually share because you don't know who it's going to help at any given moment.
I agree. And it's funny. I've always been that person to um try to be as vulnerable as I can with my audience, which is scary as hell because, my journey has not been squeaky clean perfect. Like it's been messy as hell, you know what I mean? But like I mean I'm the person that's going to maybe share too much, probably. You know what I mean? And so I get why a lot of creators don't do that because you want to position yourself as like this authority. Well, you are the authority of your life, and your truth is your truth, right? And so like um, I kind of want to take this stigma off of like you know showing up and sharing like what you're going through, if it's messy, if it's vulnerable, it's whatever, like that's okay. You're still the authority of your life, right? And sharing that truth, even if it is messy, like, all over, you can look back on my TikTok and see where I clearly was making videos, a few months ago from the awareness of like forgetting who the fuck I am, right? You can tell. And that's just where I was, and there's no judgment to put on it, but I shared that with my audience, right? And I'm gonna leave it there. But at the same time, I try to show up as authentically as I can and with where I am, because I'm really only talking to myself, right? Everything is me. But it has been very trippy to have that resonate with other people, and also such a gift to have that reflection, regardless of what that reflection has looked like. It has not always looked great. I mean, but that's also not a negative thing, right? And so it's been a fun journey to show up and look back on as well. But you're right. Like, if God had told me years ago, you're going to do this, 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 and this, I wouldn't have done it. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have this happen, and you're gonna have this happen, and you're gonna forget, and then you're gonna wake back up, and you're gonna remember. I wouldn't have done it, right? Nobody would do it. It has to feel real. You have to be in it. You have to have the experience. Otherwise, what's the point?
And also remember that we are entering the age of Aquarius, like in astrology. And it's like, I think the concept of spiritual is also dissolving and it's dying. It's like people are actually not looking for somebody outside of them to just tell them what to do, but it's more like they're looking for someone that they can completely resonate with, right? I think that's why authenticity is so important because people are now, even without them knowing, I think subconsciously they're gravitating towards people who are just completely real. And if you're in the energy of, if you're in the business of energy like us, it's like energy doesn't lie and
Yeah,
you can't even force it. Like I feel like if you're so authentic, because for me, if I wanted to fake it the whole time that I was, going through an identity shift, I could have. But I feel like even my energy would attract the people that I don't want in my life. And that includes clients, right? Because
yeah,
I will not be operating from my highest truth. So I just felt like instead of me faking it, and again, energy doesn't lie, and we're literally in the business of energy. Like it's like we are showing up as who we are, right? And it's like we are the ones that are magnetizing the people into our lives. And so I couldn't even lie. Like I couldn't even make things up because I'm like, I like this is where I am and I have to honor it, And this is just what happens when you are doing energy work and you're healing and you're like, talking about spirituality and manifesting. Like it has to be so completely true to you. And I mean, I guess, some people can fake it and like lie about it. And it does happen in the spiritual industry, but it's like, I couldn't even do that if I tried because it's actually it takes more energy to like fake it than being authentic, which is why I couldn't even do it because I'm like I wanted to still talk about specific person, but I'm like there's such a disconnect with what I'm saying that I couldn't even create a script about it. Like I simply can't talk about it. Like what I want to talk about is returning to yourself and,
yeah,
connecting with your soul. And still people were asking me SP stuff and I'm like I fear you have to find another creator that still is aligned with that, because right now I don't feel called to teach about that. I feel called to teach more about um connecting to soul and I could have maybe easily created a script, but that wouldn't be authentic to who I am and where I was and where I am in life, and yeah, I guess all that to say like how important being authentic is, and from that space you can attract like the right people or even the right audience that watches your content, right? That engages with you and all that stuff. Like to me that's really important.
Absolutely, yes. And my content has evolved over time. I It's interesting because I kind of I've always talked about the core concepts, but looking on my old videos, there are certain things that I used to say and like words that I would use and the perception of that same core concept, right? Um, I wouldn't say it that way now. And even like in the middle between when I first started and where I am now, I feel like I overcomplicated a lot of stuff and put all these rules and conditions on myself, and now I've come back to basics where all I want to talk about now is the I am, right? Which is the same thing that I've always been talking about, but now it's just in a more simplified way. And I've always maintained that, I'm going to share what I'm going through and I'm going to share my experience because that's just what I've always done. And that's the perspective that I've always taught from. But at the same time, um, I just I agree with you. A lot of the words and a lot of the way that I used to speak just doesn't resonate anymore. And and also like it's interesting, it's also been trippy to just like see myself release a lot of things that I don't know if that makes any sense, but like just to still continue showing up and sharing
Hmm.
my journey. But I've always wanted to lead people back to themselves. I'm not the one doing it. Yes, I'm doing it in my experience, but everyone is the authority. I don't have the answer. You have the answer. I'm just reminding you who you are. I guess is that's that all of that just to say that, right?
100%, 100%. And what's interesting too, and what's really important to note about all this is that when I was sharing that stuff, I wasn't lying and I wasn't
Yeah.
making it up. That was my truth at the time.
Well,
And so
that's where
I
you
look back,
were.
right. And so it's like it does, and still it doesn't mean that I don't believe that right, like I don't believe that it's wrong because it's still somebody else's truth as well. And I don't have authority to say like, oh my God, like this thing doesn't even work anymore and like don't do this because that would be a lie, right? It's like people resonate with so many different things
Yeah.
and I think like the most important thing is that we're just always changing frequency and energy and we're always learning and evolving and you get to look back at past versions of you and again, not judge yourself and be like, wow, at the time, this really worked for me. And
Yep.
like you said, right? I only shared things that I was going through, things that felt really true to me. And I've always done that. And so at least that's something that, our audience can know is that I'm sure for you as well. It's like we would never share anything that we don't believe, right? It's like I would never share techniques or I would never share things that I haven't personally seen like a change within me, right? And I don't know, maybe I'm just not a good actor because I couldn't even fake that if I wanted to.
No, I hear you. And I also, I truly keep the assumption and the perspective too that everyone is just teaching and sharing from their perspective, right? And so, a lot of people online, like trolls and stuff, will be like, this is a scam, you're a scammer, you're blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, I don't think anyone is no one is trying to do that. They're simply teaching from where they are, right?
Yeah.
And that they believe it. And me too as well. Like that's what I built my workshop around. My wish fulfilled workshop was the process that I used and got results from at the time
Yeah.
that I was manifesting a new self concept and a specific person, and it worked for me, right? And so I'm like,
Yeah.
Right. And so, like, but that's where I was at that time. And that is the perspective that I was teaching from. And so, like, that's how I look at it. Like, once again, there's no hierarchy. No one's out there trying to get anyone, right? Like, if you have that perspective, then, you believe that someone could victimize you. No one could victimize you. You are source, you are God, like you are the highest authority. And so, I mean, but once again, even that is not wrong. That's just a perspective. Everyone's perspective is right for them. But I also just
So
generally
true.
like look out there and see that no one is trying to get people. They're just sharing their truth from where they are, right? That's all that's happening.
Yeah, and it's like based on your frequency and your energy, you're gonna resonate and gravitate towards different people. Like I always find it funny when stumble upon videos and you'll see comments of people like I knew there was a reason why I didn't resonate with this teacher. Like he's a scammer and he's a liar and he lied about this. And it's like just because you don't resonate with somebody does not make them like a liar or somebody that, has bad intentions. It literally just means that you are not on the same frequency as that person. And I'm not like discrediting, actual people that, could lie in the spiritual industry, but it's like there are so many teachers that you either vibe with them or you don't, and that's it. Don't even spend your energy trying to put anybody down because I also stumble upon like a lot of Joe Dispenza videos and there's always like these comments of people saying his retreat is like, soul harvesting and this, that. And I'm like, why are you even
What?
spending time? Like, why are you spending time thinking about that or commenting that? And if you don't resonate with a teacher or their teaching, it's like, move on. Like I have so many, spiritual teachers that I see and I'm like, I don't vibe with you. And I'm not bashing them on the internet calling their teachings fake. It's like, no, I just don't resonate with it. And that's that. Like it's okay, like they're helping other people and people like their work have helped other people. And who am I to say that this is a lie or like whatever. But I think that what you said is so true. Is that everybody is just sharing at the end of the day their truth. And it's up to you to accept it, but it doesn't help anybody for you to judge it. Because again, it's an energy leak. Like what you spend your energy on is so important. And I think like haters and trolls, they don't understand that like when you keep spending your energy on the things you don't like, that thing is just going to show up in your life. That's just again, we live in
Exactly.
a focus-based universe. So whatever you focus on expands. So if you focus on
Exactly.
hate or the people that you hate or the thing that you hate, then yeah, it's always going to be in your awareness.
Exactly. And also, if it's all the perspective that you're coming from, right? And when you know who you are, which is, you're the God of your reality, you are. No one can victimize you. No one can scam you. No one can take anything away from you. No one's out to get you. It's only you, right? And unless you hold
So
that truth,
true.
then if you're calling that in, right? But nobody can do that to you. You're doing that to you. And so I try to keep that in mind as well. And I love that you said, if it doesn't resonate, then move on. Don't waste your precious energy and awareness on it. If it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't make it bad. It doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it negative. It just doesn't resonate with you and where you are. And that's fine. Keep it moving, right?
So true. And like one of the best quotes that I came across last month was from the Bhagavad Gita, like the ancient Hindu text. And it was Krishna that said, you're never really experiencing reality. You're only experiencing your nervous system. So if your nervous system baseline is like chaos and like, it's prejudice and hate and anger and frustration, it's the same thing with like when you identify too much with the news, right? It's like there is a part of you and your nervous system that actually enjoys having that chaos. And that's why you keep tuning in, right? It's like, oh my God, I can't look away because
It's
it's
like
like
a dopamine
you're
hit.
familiar. Yeah, exactly. And that's your familiar. Like your
Yeah.
body will keep looking for that. And that's why even with this work, it's just about changing uh, again, this is going to sound cliche, but it's cliche for a reason, but it's like it really does always come down to self-concept work. It's like, how do I see myself? How do I see the world? And how do I see others? And based on that is your reality. And so if you see reality from like when you just boil it down, it's so simple. It's like who do you believe you are? And who do you believe this and what do you believe this world is? And who do you believe other people are? And that's it. Like that's just gonna be reflected back to you. And so like that quote really reminds me that at the end of it, nothing outside of you is real. Like you're always just coming up against yourself, right? Even the people that are rejecting you is just an aspect of you calling you back to you. And so when you can see everything as just you, and like we said, everything is just calling you back to God and calling you back to yourself, then when you just have that awareness of the self, like you said, nothing can victimize you. Like there's no, like that word doesn't even exist because who could do it but you? And so
Yeah.
everything and everyone is just you, and like it's just calling you back to you and God. And so if you can just look at everything as you, then nothing offends you. Like you cannot be a victim to like anything because all you have to do is just come back to that knowing of the I am, right? Like it can get really trippy, but it's like, oh my God, that's an aspect of me because it's just a mirror. Everything is a mirror.
Exactly. Everything is you, right? You're the only one here, essentially, which also sometimes I'll start thinking really deeply into that, and it's so uh freaky and
Yes.
trippy in itself. Like
So weird.
none of this is real. Like it's all coming from me. Which is such a crazy thought, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so like, yeah, definitely don't think too much about it because I think too much too. And I'm like, what's happening? What's that? Like, why are my cats here? Like, are they just me? Like, what's happening?
Right. No,
But
seriously, like
yeah.
I do that. Like my kids, my husband, my friends, like
Yes.
if my consciousness were to dip out of this, whatever I'm doing, like in this, and I were no longer playing Courtney, right? Um, would any of this still be here? No, probably not.
No.
No,
No.
because
I love how I love how you said dip. Like that tells me you have
just dip
young
out.
kids. You're like,
Yeah.
dip.
No,
My
oh my,
Gen
they
Z
don't even
nephew
say,
like says
see,
that.
that's from my gender. They say stuff like
Yeah.
6, 7, and nobody knows what it means,
That gives
right?
me a
And
headache. Yeah, yeah,
oh my
literally.
God. And or they'll say like, I don't know, like you ate. And I'm
They
like,
have all
what?
these.
It was,
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
ate.
this is not, I don't get it. But anyway, I'm
Yeah. No, but
whatever.
like that was the feeling that I had at that club as well, where I'm like, nothing is real. Like it's all me. And I could press a button right now and everything would stop. And so if I cease to exist, then I guess everything also ceases to exist. Like it's yeah.
Right, because
It's
none of it could
definitely a
exist
black hole.
without you,
Without you, because you're observing it.
without
Yeah.
your awareness. None of it does exist. It can't exist. And so one of my favorite things to say to myself nowadays, and I've made it really fun, is like, all of this is here for me. I'm not here for it. And I make it a funny, like sassy little affirmative like declaration or whatever to remind myself like all of this is here for me because it would not exist without me. It can't because I'm the source. And so I was at this like concert one time with my
Wow.
husband, and I remember I like that thought came upon me in that moment, and I was like, all of this is here for me. I'm not here for it. And it was just like this whole like really fun moment of awareness, kind of like what you were talking about, where I was in the moment and remembering myself. And it did feel like time did not exist because it doesn't, and there is no time, and the only pure awareness, and it's you, which all of that is. also just like to my human
Yeah.
self is like crazy.
And I feel like, think of that in the lens of money too. Like,
Yeah.
money would not exist if it weren't for us. So it's like money is here because of
Yep.
me. And so it's like it actually needs us. So why wouldn't it be in our reality or our awareness, right? Like that's
And
crazy.
also I had the awareness and the epiphany recently too in that same vein where, because you are the source of the money, like it's here for you. So
Yeah.
all the money in your reality, literally all the money in the world actually belongs to you. It is actually yours. It's all already yours because none of it would exist without you, right? So
No, that gave me goosebumps.
right? It did me
That's
too. I was
so
like,
true.
oh my
Wow.
God. And then I started laughing once again, keep laughing at the doubts and the fears and the things that are lying to you,
Literally the
right?
message.
Right. And started laughing at
Crazy.
why would I ever have, I'm like laughing at the fact that I've ever worried about money. That's laughable.
That happened to
But,
me. That literally happened
right?
to me. Crazy. Oh my
You
God.
cannot
And
make it
we're
up.
always taken care of. We're always taken care of. I mean, it reminds us of our favorite movie, Interstellar. Like, there's nobody but you giving you nudges, and
Yep.
it's all your higher self. It's all you. It's literally all you. Like, wild. I love how this conversation went to everywhere.
I know it makes me so happy. This, and I'm like, we could talk forever, and I'm gonna stop it
No,
here. And I
actually.
respect your
Yeah.
time. And I know it's late for you, but I would love to have you on again, and I would love to do a
Yes.
part two because I mean, I could just go on and on
We
forever.
need to do a part two for my podcast too with you because
I
like
would love
I
to.
feel like, oh my God, we still have so many things to talk about.
The vibe, like I could go on and on. Like I thought
Yeah.
earlier, I was like, I have another story, but it's gonna take too long. But thank you so much,
Yeah.
Silkina. It has been an honor to
Thank
have you. I have
you.
enjoyed this conversation so much. And please tell everyone what's going on with you, how they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Well, you can follow me on TikTok, Awaken with Silkina. I'm also on YouTube. So those are like the two platforms. On Instagram, yeah, you can follow me if you want to see like what I eat every day. But it's like otherwise I'm on TikTok and I'm on YouTube, Awaken with Silkina. Follow me there. I'm posting again, so I'm not gonna ghost you. And I'm just sharing my journey. And of course, I have all of my courses linked on my TikTok as well. People always ask me because I have like a few courses. They're like, which one should I take? And I'm like, take the one that teaches you how to come back to yourself. Like, I have a course called Return to Self, and I'm like, that should be like the foundation because that's self concept work. Like, do that. And then if you want to take any of my SP courses, go ahead. But that should be like baseline the work, the inner work that you do for you. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be meeting your soul first. So, yeah, connect with me,
Yes.
message me. I would love to hear from all of you. Like, I love getting messages. So, yeah, like text me if you see this, podcast and what were your takeaways? Like, I love getting messages and feedback from you guys.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. And I feel like people are going to love this because it's been such a fun conversation. And yes, go
Yeah.
follow her on Instagram because you have the most beautiful coffees that I've ever. I'm
Oh my
obsessed with
God, my
coffee.
vanilla bean coffee.
Oh my God, every time I'm like, the most beautiful coffees I've ever seen.
No, I like that you said that. I'm actually gonna share more now because every
Yay!
time I make my vanilla bean cloud coffee, I'm like, I want to take a photo, but I'm like, do people care? But now that
No,
you
I
said
do.
that, I'm gonna post it tomorrow.
I care and I love to see them and it makes me happy. So everyone follow
Yeah.
Silkina everywhere. And thank you so much again.
Thank
It's been
you.
so
Thank you so
fun.
much.
And I will definitely
Thank
have you on again for a part two, and we'll do another part two for yours too, because there's just a million things to say.
100%. We have to. We have to.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for
Thank
tuning in,
you.
and I'll see you next time.